I know.
So what's shaking at the co-op? Bunny bucks?
Bunny bucks going strong.
Yay!
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about. How much time do I have to accumulate them?
You have till March, April
Is
20.
like, yeah,
April 20.
it's like
I got
third
time.
week in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
April 20.
So why don't I just ask you?
I'm just backing you up.
Okay, all right. What are we talking about this morning?
We have two guests today. And
Okay.
the subject is sustainable regenerative agriculture. And you had a guest calling in earlier, and Kevin.
Yes.
And he said, bring on something that's, have a subject that's a little bit more uplifting.
Well, and actually, Kevin is in ag. He's involved in the agricultural industry.
Oh, very
I
good.
will tell you about it off air.
But so I'm not sure. Is this going to be an uplifting conversation, or is it going to be a mixed emotional roller coaster for Kevin?
I think a roller coaster from my perspective.
I like this.
Okay.
Abigail McShinksy, herbalist and writer, lives in Concord, serves as the education specialist at MegaFood, a local company that crafts premium supplements made with real food and trusted farm partners that share a commitment to organic and regenerative agriculture.
Nice.
And Tracey Lesser, where's Tracey?
Right here.
Hi, Tracey. Professor of chemistry, the class I slept through. I'm sorry.
Thank God you
well,
showed up.
I did.
Yeah.
I was not a chem major. And the coordinator for both the Sustainable Agriculture and Environmental Science programs at NHTI, Concord's Community College. Nice. Tracey holds a master's degree in natural resource management from the University of New Hampshire. Glad to have you with us, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like chemistry now. I didn't when I was 17.
No one does.
Yeah, well, I guess. Okay.
I understand that fully.
Well, it took me I think I was a junior when I finally figured out how to use my slide rule. So that was not a good sign. So sustainable, I mean, New Hampshire, if you listen to stories about agriculture in New Hampshire, we just had somebody from the census, the ag.
Oh, yes.
They just did the USDA did the census. They have to do it every 5 years. They just did it, which is going to tell the story about ag in New Hampshire, where it's evolved. Some of the bigger farms are going. Some of the smaller being replaced by smaller concerns, which is great because that has moved greenhouse, Christmas tree, maple syrup. Smaller operations have replaced the larger ones, but that's evolution, right? Isn't that what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing like a resurgence in the farming.
We are just in smaller scale.
Absolutely. So it started with the farmers markets that we see cropping up every weekend and getting to know your farmers. And then I think especially a lot of young folks are getting back into farming. So I'd be interested, Tracey, to see if we're seeing that in New Hampshire as well. A lot of like younger couples and families starting
when you say getting back to farming, to me, that implies that they were in farming, walked away. Maybe the family had a farm, they walked away and are coming back to it. Or people who have never done it just said, this looks like a good, healthy idea for us and our family.
I think across the country we're seeing a combo of
Okay.
both.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. That have had it in their past and are bringing it back to themselves,
Especially starting new families, really conscious of where their food's coming from.
right, and that's where it starts. That's where it starts. Is people are more concerned about what they're intaking, so they're more concerned about what they're buying, what they're growing, and what they're doing.
Yeah, and if you grow it yourself, total control.
Even better.
Absolutely. I mean,
It has been interesting who's getting into farming. I've seen a lot of young people.
Yeah.
But also, Larry Pletcher, retired judge, and
the vegetable ranch.
yeah, the vegetable
Sure.
ranch. He goes into farming. I don't know. He's retired, and he takes on farming.
Wasn't he like an attorney or something?
Right. Pardon me?
Wasn't he an attorney or
Oh, yes.
something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Finally, an honest profession. Get into ag. That's good. But Tracey, we have a sustainable agriculture and environmental sciences program. Sounds like a great program. Are people signing up for it, getting into it?
They are. We it's been 2 years going on now.
Right.
The first year it was a lot of young students whose parents owned farms and they wanted to continue on, but they wanted to learn the accounting, the marketing, the business,
The
getting
business
it out
end
there.
of it, yeah, right.
So we got those students. We also have a number of students who have no connection to farming, but they want to be in the land. They want to work with their hands. They want to get back, and veterans coming back.
Really?
Oh, that's
Trying to
awesome.
get
I like
out.
that.
Great.
So we're getting all of those. The program is still very small. We're hoping as the Thompson schools sort of moving towards more 4-year programs that will gain more of those 2-year students.
So now, that's the side of the business that a lot of farmers didn't know, the business side.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, it's like us. All we want to do is radio. We don't care about the money side. We don't care. Just let us do this thing that we do, and somehow the rest of it will take care of itself. and unfortunately, that's been the bane of a lot of ag existence.
Right.
That we didn't know the finances. We took out loans. Oops, the economy changed. We didn't respond. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. So I like to see that they're doing the background work on the finances.
That was the first thing that every farmer told us when we started the program is make sure they know how to keep the books, make sure they're good at accounting, make sure they know marketing, make sure they know their market so that they can stay here and stay in business.
And, and I think you had said that one of the first projects that you have them do was even like their price out eggs.
Yes.
And how they said, well, I'm going to sell them at this price and because that's the good price. And how once they work through their business model, it simply didn't work.
Right. That was a great project that Carol Sewell did with our students from Miles Smith Farm. She had them each pick an animal or a product, something, and then they went through the whole from the cost of buying it, all the equipment that they need, and then she made them pay themselves. And most of them, when they were done, when they were paying at the market value that you would buy your stuff at, couldn't pay themselves.
Wow.
And
They were making no income.
And Carol's perfect. She's like a PhD in stuff. You know, she knows stuff, and she's colorful. And you listen to Carol. But you're right. You're going $2 for eggs. Man, what am I making? I'm clearing like $1.50 on that. It's like, really?
Not really.
All right, now let's back out the chicken. Let's back out the egg. Let's back this stuff out. Oh, by the way, you're losing a quarter a dozen. What? I'm sure that's an eye-opener for a lot of people.
Can you define regenerative farming and sustainable farming for us so we know what you're talking about there?
Yeah, absolutely. So regenerative agriculture looks at taking the current kind of U.S. agriculture model and saying it's not working. Actually, according to the UN, we only have 57 topsoil harvests left across the world. 57 years of harvesting quality foods left. So there is also, if we want to keep doing this and continue to
where'd the topsoil go?
we're destroying it.
Oh, okay.
We're destroying it.
It's still there, but we're destroying it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
regenerative agriculture's focus is on, and Tracey, please correct me if I'm wrong, but replenishing topsoil, and also something that MegaFood's really focused on from an environmental perspective is carbon drawdown. We know there's way too much carbon in our atmosphere,
Right.
but a lot of us don't realize it's actually really good to have that in the soil.
Right.
And the soil's really great at holding on to it. So we want to, support farmers to get to a place where they're drawing that carbon back down into the soil, which will help with the topsoil crisis, which will help with the environment. It's a complex.
Got it.
It's a complex thing. So MegaFood's actually working with companies like Stonyfield and Ben & Jerry's and the Carbon Underground to create a standard for regenerative agriculture, so it's not so scary for these small farmers that are starting out.
So on a small scale, how do I regenerate my topsoil?
I'm gonna look Tracey for this one.
Yeah.
So we've been working on this for a couple of years. On the NHTI campus is the Sycamore Community Garden, which serves about 164 new American, low-income, other families, some community members from NHTI, and each family is given a plot. That was farmed in the worst possible way. So the nitrogen levels are 1 part per million, and they need to be near 40.
Right.
So we're working with the farmers to grow clover around all their plants and then leaving that back in the soil.
A green manure, basically.
Yeah, adding
Right,
compost,
right.
Yeah.
composting things back
Okay.
up, slowly building up the soil, not just hitting it with fertilizer, getting their yield and going.
Really?
But looking for the long term.
A thousand bags of 1919. Boom, done. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not it.
No.
Right. So we're looking to build the soil
How long?
back up.
How long does it take that process? When you're doing the green manures and you're doing that maybe spring or fall and tilling it under, and you're doing the recycles. How many years are we talking?
It depends on the system. There was some great work out of North Dakota that was looking at under 10 years. We've been trying to mimic that, but with 160 different farmers with 160 different needs, it's
Yeah.
a much more complicated process because we
Right,
don't have
here.
total control.
Does our the length of our growing season impact that as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And whenever the Sycamore Community Garden floods twice a year.
Yeah, how big a space are we talking?
It's a couple acres, and each farmer gets a 27 by 13 foot plot.
Is that the one on Clinton Street?
No, it's right on NHTI's campus.
Because there's one over on Clinton Street, right? Off of the gardens.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay. Which I like to see. I like to see people, because you buy a store-bought tomato or you go in the garden and pick one. Come on, no-brainer.
Yeah,
I know.
Everybody
comparison.
knows
I know,
that
yeah.
one. And everybody, once you've had that garden-picked tomato that you raised, nothing else measures up to it. I want that.
Yeah.
Which is great. And if that's the impetus to get people going, they don't think about it in terms of dollars and cents. They think about it as, I want that fresh tomato.
Yeah, but it's also important that they not think about it as, well, I just got to put some seeds in the ground and then water it and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
We've got to get people more thinking years down the road. Whether you're trading what it is you're growing in a specific plot, we can only do that once every other year, or whatever measures you take. The topsoil needs to be rejuvenated.
Yep. And regenerative agriculture is a philosophy. It's an ongoing method of. It's not a solution to implement for one and done.
Right? Yeah, just for the season.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah. And the end goal being that tomato that is so good in our garden, I can harvest that again year after year.
Yeah. I like it. Very quick, we're going to have to take a break. But Tracey, the 2-year program, the Sustainable Agriculture and Environmental Sciences program, what's that qualify me for?
So there's different pathways you can take. There's the transfer pathway that would get you into the 4-year university. We have with the ag program, we have a certificate-based associate's degree that is really more of a hands-on technical skills, technical training to get these students into the workforce faster.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Gotcha. All right.
Nice.
We'll take a break. Are you going to talk, or are you just going to let Abigail and
When we come back, I'd like
Tracey
to talk a little bit about organic and the benefits of organic, if we could.
Sweet.
Oh,
I like that.
absolutely.
We'll be back right after this. Tracey Lesser, Abigail McShinksy, and of course Greg from the Concord Food Co-op. We're talking sustainable and regenerative agriculture this morning. Good topic, Greg. Nice job.
So my question is organic. The Concord Food Co-op is 100% organic in the produce area. We actually have a farm at Canterbury Shaker Village, and we have a farmer we all the farmers that we are dealing with are organic, and then we just supplement anything that they can't provide. Tomatoes is always an issue, getting enough organic tomatoes. But what are, can you comment a little bit about the health benefits of organic? The price is higher, and so why is the price higher? I've gone out to the farm and worked, and Peter, you said you have several greenhouses. Farming is hard work, and certainly you're out there weeding versus spraying some Roundup. So
right.
What are the
there's the answer, Greg.
Yeah.
How do you say organics and Roundup in the same conversation?
Well, it's just, that's the shortcut in my mind, is
right.
But and that's why I think organic farming is more labor intensive. And that when you've got that many more hours into it, then I think it raises the price. But people, when they're looking at organic, I think the long term health benefits of eating organic, obviously you're going to pay at the end, and by you're seeing a doctor much more frequently and later in life than if. But what are your thoughts on organic?
I think from a public health perspective, organic is very important. So we've been talking really about the environmental aspects and the farming itself, but for the average consumer walking into the co-op picking up organic, there's more nutrient value to that food than their conventional counterparts. And studies continue to demonstrate that. Also shows that our nutrient value over the past 40 years has continued to decrease. So organics is, again, a better option there to make sure you're getting the most nutrients possible. But then to your point about things like Roundup, and at MegaFood we refer to it as glyphosate, and we're actually a glyphosate residue-free company for that reason. We want people to ensure that they're, staying away from these chemicals that are very much of concern to them. And so it's really about the quality of the food to me and about the nutrients that it contains.
Tracey?
I look at it as perspective as the whole environment. So you're looking at, if you're spraying these chemicals, what's happening to your pollinators, what's happening to the microbes in the soil, what's happening to the fungus in the soil. Yep. What else are you killing out that's really beneficial, that's then destroying it for 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line? And what are my small children eating?
Yeah.
And what is it doing to them? So I feel very strongly that we need to be teaching this generation of students how to keep this going long term without using these pervasive chemicals.
One of the things I think confuses people is the use of the word organic. Sometimes in marketing, it's bandied about, and it isn't what you think it is. It may not have the benefits that you think it, because it just seems like people use organic kind of fluidly. Do you see that?
When it comes to purchasing products on the shelf, marketers certainly use that term, but it does have meaning. So it is mandated by USDA and the FDA. So
what does it mean?
So if I pick up a product that says certified organic or has that USDA organic seal, I know that it's made with ingredients that 95% of those came from certified, traceable organic sources.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll give you an example. The Co-op's farm at the Canterbury Shaker Village, as a weed inhibitor, they were putting newspaper down. When they came in for certification, they said, you need to go back to that newspaper and ask for every chemical that they put into that newspaper.
Wow.
So we no longer use newspaper.
No kidding.
Right.
Wow.
See,
Wow.
but again, because organic, I think, is at a certain level. It's not like all natural.
Well,
Which
there's
is unregulated.
Which is totally
Yeah.
unregulated.
There are just some
even the
phrases.
bad things for you are all
Yeah.
natural.
It's just thrown around, so sometimes people get confused.
Yeah.
Organic's a good one, especially if you're looking for like the seals on your packages, because it is regulated. It has a meaning. Regenerative is one that we're working on developing so that we have a standard for
But see,
regenerative
I really like the regenerative in terms of again planting clovers, the green mixes, tilling under, help to restore the soil, putting the recyclables back in, mixing. Great, we need it.
It makes it sustainable.
Oh, yeah, no,
it makes
absolutely.
it means that you're going to be able
But-
to plant
But
something next season,
like
and the
Tracey was
season
saying,
after that.
long picture.
Yeah.
You know, it's not today. It's not at the end of August. We're looking out.
Right. It's looking, is your farm going to be sustainable in 50 years? Not are you going to make
Bingo,
your most
bingo.
profit this
Right,
year
yes,
and then have
yes.
to close your doors?
Even though I know you, as a farmer, you got to kind of think. You got to think I need to make as much as I can off the land this season, but you need to do it for years and years and years too.
When's enrollment for the program?
We are ongoing. So our enrollment, we take students in January, we take students in May, we take students in August. It is a no admissions requirements program, so we'll take you as you come.
Wow, we could actually get into that school.
Yes, we could.
Greg, what's shaking at the co-op? We got about 20 seconds.
So I guess it's the bunny bucks, and and I always forget to mention the sushi. We have fresh sushi made every day. So and sushi on Wednesdays is $5. So Wednesdays
There
and
you
every
go.
day.
Tracey Lesser, Abigail McShinksy, thank you. Please come back. Great stuff.
Thanks for having us.
Greg, as always, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're out of here. News on the way. Back with more.